On today's show, patch 1.0.2 is on the way. Engrams are finally being fixed, and weapon balance is inbound. All that and more on today's show.
You're listening to Destiny the Show. Welcome, Guardians.
Ditty, we have an enormous week. A huge week.
Absolutely.
Like, so much in this last week, and so much good, too. I mean, first of all, how was your week?
Pretty good. Preparing for these tests coming up. And I found out, so my Monday class is once a week, right?
Yeah.
And I have a test in that class. And so I thought, the test is going to be on Monday. It's on Thursday. So I've been studying all day, and I just found that out. And I'm like, okay. I mean, it's in the testing center, so it's not in class, but whatever. I'm prepared.
Yeah. I mean, an extra few days is nice, but I mean, if you were like gearing up, ready to go, it's almost not that nice of news, is it?
Yeah, it's also nice. We're going to do a review session in class tomorrow, so.
Ooh, score. See, those are the money. Kids who miss the review session in college, you're going to fail. Seriously, kids.
Yeah, if you
don't
think
miss
this is the class before the test, it's just going to be review. If you skip out on the review, like
you're screwed.
Yeah, they basically do the test right in front of you.
It's the best day of all college if you get a review day. And if the teacher's like, okay, come prepared with questions, you ask them everything. You leave no rock unturned. You get every single bit. You squeeze that lemon until it's dry. Is that the last of the test on Thursday? Is that it for midterms?
Yeah, until right before Thanksgiving, I think.
How did the ones go prior to this?
Pretty good. I haven't heard back anything yet.
But you felt good?
Yeah.
Nice. And you're done very soon. Our listeners might not know, but you're graduating pretty soon.
Yeah, in May.
It's going to creep up on you, man. Did you play anything this week other than Destiny?
Still on that League of Legends grind, you know.
I hear that there's this game coming up that you're a little bit excited about, and I'm thrilled.
Yes. Middle-earth Shadow of Mordor. Oh my gosh, I'm super excited for this. It's getting rave reviews, like unexpectedly great reviews. And I'm definitely going to be... I already have it pre-ordered, and I'm going to be doing a walkthrough on the YouTube channel, so...
Oh, you are? Nice. I need that to watch because, I was totally hit out of the blue. I watched the live action teaser. My boss showed it to me at work. He didn't know it was a game. I didn't know it was a game. And then, a little birdie, all I hear is that this is, the best Lord of the Rings game ever.
Yeah, it looks really intriguing. The Nemesis system and everything it's really awesome. But I still do have the Destiny Strike videos I need to put out as well, so I'm not abandoning Destiny at all. So don't worry, listeners.
I'm throwing the whip. You got to go faster.
Yep.
Nice. And what level in Destiny? What'd you do this week in Destiny?
I'm still level 24. I did a ton of Queen's bounties and not a lot of the Queen's missions because as a solo player, they're really freaking difficult.
They're insane. So, everything does so much damage.
The Shanks, dude. Ugh.
Shielded. And then you have to know
Shanks.
the elemental that they're weak to, which I didn't. So it was as a solo player, I didn't even complete a single Queen mission, and some players right now are like, how could you? Did you get rank 1 or 2 with her?
I did get rank 1. I got the shader, and my armor just looks amazing now.
That shader is so good. Does the cape have the glimmery, cool gold stuff?
It depends on your cape, but I do have a cape that is all purple and gold, yes.
That's probably really good looking. That's what I want. And I have until October 6th, I believe, is when she goes away and Iron Banner shows up. But we'll talk about that in the news. And, you just did her bounties. Did you do any strikes? Did you do any PvP?
I didn't do any Crucible, but I did do a lot of strikes because a lot of the Queen's bounties could be all done at the same time. Collect 200... whatever from fallen enemies, and then get 200 headshots, and then defeat 3 fallen walkers, and then defeat Sepix Prime was a regular bounty, and so I just did Sepix Prime 5 times in a row.
Oh, nice. Smart way to do it.
Yeah, so doing strikes is the best way to collect 200 of whatever item on whatever planet. It's absolutely the best, because all of the majors that you kill, they drop 20 each, and so it's a super quick way to do it.
It's quick, easy, it's fun, and plus strikes are a good way to spend your time anyway, because you end up getting marks out of the deal, the Vanguard marks.
Yep.
Cool. Well, I did a little bit of Hearthstone. I actually streamed a little bit from the office where I work. I don't know if I can do that very much, though, because the computer I'm using kind of has these weird, like, freezes. Not like I just dropped the latency thing. Not an internet issue, but, like, serious CPU or problem issues where it's like, and, like, stuttering. So I probably won't continue with that. I got to level 25, almost
Nice.
26. I learned how to farm helium coils on the moon, because apparently... You need to do that when you start upgrading armor that's legendary.
Yeah,
So
the helium fragments. Yep.
Yep. So I learned a little circle on the moon and go and do that, which is kind of fun.
Nice.
Turn on music and just go grab stuff, look for chests. It's not terribly exciting. Purple pair of boots I bought from the Vanguard, the Warlock Vanguard lady. And then I bought a chest piece that was purple. So my first 2 legendary items this week. That's like 130 Vanguard marks that I got through doing the heroic daily and the strikes. So I'm clean out of Vanguard marks, and I'm trying to get to 26. And I'm pretty far away from rank 1 of Queen's Bounty. I'm probably only like 60% of the way. So hopefully I have enough time, I think, to get all that stuff. But we get a lot of news, and in fact the news is the big chunk of today's show, so let's jump into it. All right, the reason we're here is because we have Destiny dev notes, we have the weekly update, which was huge, and then even bigger than that is patch 1.0.2, which is most likely coming this week. We think Tuesday. I don't know if that's confirmed just yet, is it?
I haven't seen any official remarks, but I would assume it's going to be Tuesday.
Most likely, and hot fixes that are also inbound. The big deal here is that Engrams are being fixed, and Bungie really starting to address a lot of the concerns that players were yelling about the last few weeks. I'm pretty pleased with this news, but we're going to go through it step by step and talk about what we feel, what's happening, and feedback, and yeah. So let's get into it. Start out with the Destiny dev notes. This was released right before they put out their weekly update on the 26th, and it went through and addressed a big list of things that the developers want to change, and a lot of the changes that are coming soon and some that don't have a date yet. First of which being loot. There are Cryptarch changes on the way, and a lot of that is outlined in the Bungie update and the patch preview. Loot Cave is gone. This last week, Loot Cave and a lot of the other farming areas have been removed or effectively shut down. I don't want to say removed, but they have changed the respawn timer on Loot Cave to it was 6 seconds up to 50 seconds. Is that right, Ditty?
Yeah, it was like 6 to 40 or something. It was a pretty substantial change.
Bungie explains that they really don't want Destiny being stand and shoot at the black hole for 2 or 3 hours on end, which a lot of players were doing. You could go to Loot Cave any time of the day, any time at night, and see at least 4 or 5 people doing that. What they're doing here is it's the start of the overhauling the loot system changes. They are putting an increased emphasis on Engram drops from completing activities. So they don't want players just farming in stupid ways like Loot Cave. They would rather players participate in the activities they've put into Destiny, and we're going to see more Engram drops and more rewards from completed activities, and that's Crucible, Strikes, Raid. Patrols, I don't think patrols you're going to actually end up getting Engram stuff from, but maybe the heroic dailies, we could see that. What do you think?
Yeah, that would be nice. Some type of motivation to do other things in Destiny than just the explore patrol missions. Like,
yeah,
if I know I'm going to get a specific or set reward at the end of a strike, I'm going to feel more motivated to do that strike then.
Oh, absolutely. That moves on to the next part of their dev notes, reward celebration. Bungie wants to make a bigger deal out of awesome gear dropping. Right now, when you beat Vault of Glass, there's a lot of coveted gear. There's great gear in the raid. But most people don't know, because when you get it, it's the same exact experience as when you pick up another blue or another purple item. So they're going to be changing the way that rewards are celebrated and trying to make a bigger emphasis on when you unlock something that's a big deal. And that's needed because as of right now, I've got friends who completed Vault of Glass. I've seen some of their gear. Yes, it's nice, but it still doesn't have the oomph or the emphasis that I actually want to see. If you beat Vault of Glass, I think streamers and fireworks should go off, you know?
Yeah, the rewards that they're getting, it doesn't have any like reputation behind it. It's just like, oh, okay, you beat Vault of Glass, and that's a cool piece of armor, but it's just like, I could probably find something similar in just like a treasure cave, you know?
Yeah, if you were on the tower and I said, here's 10 guardians, lined them up, could you actually pick out the person who completed Vault of Glass if he was wearing that armor?
Yeah, exactly.
I don't think you could. I mean, like, it just looks virtually the same as other pieces or, exotics. I would probably point out an exotic way before somebody who's beaten Vault of Glass on hard mode, which isn't right. You definitely want to celebrate those victories and gain that kind of, like in WoW, if I see somebody in the hot tier armor who's been beating the normal mode 10-man raids, I can see immediately. Like, his armor has skulls and flames and this aura around him that's like, oh my gosh, that guy is John Travolta. He is so cool. I want to hang out with that guy. I don't have that feeling yet, unless I see somebody. Have you seen some of the Xur pieces, like the flaming warlock armband?
Yeah, those are pretty cool.
Some of Xur's stuff is pretty awesome. Okay, social. Voice communication. Their short-term solution is going to allow players to opt into voice communication during match-made activities. In the long term, we don't know what Bungie's going to do to try and make voice communication a more integral part of Destiny. As it is now, it's a fairly quiet experience, but I do like the ability to actually opt into voice communication without having to do party chat. Just my 2 cents.
With a social game like Destiny, it's surprising they didn't have any type of voice communication at launch, but a lot of people have been concerned about Bungie's social growth with the lack of voice communication, so them adding it is definitely a benefit.
This one doesn't have a timeline either. We don't know when we're actually going to be getting this feature, but they've got to protect our little soft, sweet, precious ears, Ditty. Imagine if somebody on Xbox Live said something that, far be it shocking or offensive. I don't know what I would do if I ever heard something like that. I would probably stop playing altogether.
Online interactions are not rated by the ESRB.
There you go. They're covered. That's all they needed to ever say. Okay? Or the mute button. We all know how to use it. We've all gotten very good at it. Xbox Live is not new. Okay? If you're coming into this and you're shocked that there's a horribly toxic amount of stuff that happens in voice chat, well, that is voice chat. That's like part of the fun, man. All right, strikes. The devs want to make strikes feel less grindy. They're going to do this by lessening the amount of bullet sponge that bosses have, and they want to increase rewards and encourage players to play more strikes. I love hearing less bullet sponge. Hopefully this means different AI tactics coming from our strike bosses.
Yep. That's pretty much it. That's good news.
Yep, I'm glad to hear it. I mean, in particular, the Moon boss, I don't care that he's a bullet sponge, because that's a really interesting fight. But the Venus boss, that's like the turret in the middle of the room, I get so bored in that fight. Like, pew, 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 I two-shot you. And all it is like, oh, I'm looking at you, and then I like pull back behind the cover. Come out, pew, pew, pew. Like, it's, rinse, repeat. Looking forward to him, especially if you're doing like the level 24 strike. It is a headache, dude. It's like level 24, add 10 extra minutes to this strike. That's it.
Add 10,000 health to the boss, and then that's the difficulty increase.
Yeah. Weapon balance. Exotic weapons will be getting buffs to make them more powerful, so do not shard these weapons. Their time will come. Bungie wants to see exotics feel more powerful and more rare. If you have exotics right now and you're not pleased, hold on to them, because a buff is coming fairly soon. Auto rifles, they're getting nerfed. Bungie says they are too effective at long range, even beating out scout rifles and pulse rifles. Stability and or damage adjustments will be happening in the weeks ahead. Ditty, I'm stoked for this. Auto rifles are still stupid good.
Yeah, auto rifles are still really good, especially in like Rumble.
Oh my word!
It's because they're so those are close quarters maps, right? Auto rifle is obviously going to outshine any long range option, but I think we don't need much of a stability adjustment as a damage drop off adjustment.
Yeah.
You know, like auto rifles are pretty good at long range right now. And, you know, they were even stronger in the beta and they even nerfed it for launch, but they're still pretty dominant. So if they had more like of a damage drop off for the further range, I think it would be a good fix for that.
I agree. I've only been playing auto rifle like since our last show just to sort of test this out. It's so good, dude. Like in player versus enemy PvE stuff, it is really nice. And I've basically been using pulse and scout rifles up until this point. And until this nerf happens, I'll be sticking with my auto rifle. Scout rifles are getting a buff. They're going to hit harder. And Bungie says they want scout rifles to feel more like that really powerful weapon. If you've got the accuracy, you're going to have the power, which again I like because the scout rifle was my favorite weapon during the beta in terms of like crucible play.
Yeah, this kind of concerns me as like a hand cannon main because hand cannons obviously they have the highest impact of the primary weapons, but them saying scout rifles are going to hit harder makes me think that they're going to increase the impact that they do. And if it's, you know, if they don't adjust the rate of fire to compensate, then scout rifle is probably going to become the king of PvE and PvP.
Yeah, why would you use a hand cannon?
Exactly.
You know
why would I want to use a hand cannon anymore? I mean, they just buffed the hand cannon, so, I mean, buffing the scout rifles, they got to keep that into consideration as well.
It's like a 14-shot hand cannon, basically, if they make the impact to that degree, which they probably won't, but you then have to think about the trade-off, right?
I mean, we have the Hawkmoon hand cannon, which has 13 bullets in a clip, and my scout rifle that I have, it has 14 bullets, and the hand cannon that I use has 11, right? And like, it's just the rate of fire at that point that makes them any different. So it's concerning. I want to see what they do with this.
Wouldn't you think that with a handgun, like the hand cannon, the reload time should be faster? Like, it is so slow, especially when you're just like, all right, throw the clip out, do the little spinning, and ready to go.
But I have a nice setup on my gunslinger class for my hunter, and I have a certain set of gauntlets for my hand cannon. My hand cannon reload speed is under 2 seconds.
Oh my gosh.
It's really good.
See, this is the Warlock player, though, talking about his hand cannons, which is just like cobwebs and it's rusted. It doesn't work half the time.
Yeah, if you want to, at this point, if you want to main a hand cannon, you have to have the proper setup for it. And I definitely do, but if scout rifles get a buff, it's going to make me worried.
We'll see. I agree. I think you bring valid points to the table. Shotguns are getting a nerf. Bungie says they're too effective beyond their intended range. Done. Good.
This is just going to make fusion rifles even more powerful in PvP, and they're already good.
I'm surprised they didn't put fusion in here, aren't you?
Yeah, like the fusion rifles, I don't know, but they just seem... I can never use them, but every time they're used against me, I die instantly, and it's... Yep, exactly.
PvP, man, I have heard more complaints about that than any other weapon right now, is the fusion rifle.
Yeah, it's hard to balance so many different weapon types in PvP.
Yeah, I really feel for him because this is a pretty elaborate sandbox. They have to think of PvE, and then they have to sort of think of PvP, and I don't know how their balance team is still awake at this point. So, all right, and that is the dev notes. So some interesting things happening. I like hearing about the weapon balance changes. I'm excited for more rewards, and finally, the loot stuff is actually changing. So when this first came out, people were like, Bungie got rid of Loot Cave. I hate them so much. How could they do this? And then like 20 minutes later, the weekly update comes out talking about the new patch, and most people didn't read it. So my Twitter feed for like the rest of the day was like, Bungie, I hate you. I'm gone forever. Because they nerfed Loot Cave? Oh my gosh, just silliness.
Yeah, and just saying, like, throughout the week, there have been more loot farming caves found in different areas of Old Russia.
Rocket Yard.
Like, exactly. Rocket Yard there's like 3 there now, and it's like they're gonna find more, so don't worry.
Relax, guys. It's the internet. And that brings us to the Bungie Weekly Update. This came out on the 26th, and it outlines a bunch of new stuff. So the upcoming events, Queen's Banner is going to continue until October 6th. Ditty, in like 2 seconds or less. Queen's Banner, yay, nay, you like it, dislike it?
It definitely brings some interesting concepts to the table, but the fact that it was the same story missions with just different modifiers kind of left me disappointed. I kind of expected at least one new storyline, but that's what we have the expansion packs to look forward to.
Yeah, I agree. I think the gear's pretty. I think the new part of the tower is pretty, but the missions kind of missed the mark for me. The Iron Banner, everybody, opens up October 7th and will last a full week, going all the way until the 14th. For listeners who don't know, Ditty, what is the Iron Banner?
The Iron Banner is pretty much the same thing as the Crucible multiplayer, except that the level advantages are turned on. So bring in your best gear to dominate your opponents.
It's gonna be nuts.
If you have like a green auto rifle and I have an exotic auto rifle, I'm gonna destroy you because I do so much more damage.
Yep. And people with sweet armor, it's gonna be nuts now that we have the full plethora, the full pantheon of gear in Destiny, and people have had time to actually grind and get good gear.
And nobody should complain about balance issues in the Iron Banner, because that's the point of the Iron Banner.
Yeah.
It's like, it's all out, you know? I'm going to bring my best stuff forward, so you better watch out.
Yeah. If people go in with false expectations, just know you're going to get spanked and you're going to be, sent crying home. The rewards for participating will be legendary Iron Banner gear, Iron Banner emblems, shaders, and ships. Now, you got an Iron Banner cloak, didn't you?
I did. It did not transfer over from the beta, obviously, but I'm going to assume it's the same gear, and it's pretty good. It's pretty awesome.
It looks good, like significantly better than regular gear. That cloak, if I remember right, it was so pretty. It had the eagle on it, right? Like the bird.
I don't remember exactly.
White or something. It looked good.
It was white, yeah. It looks really good.
Other than that, the Destiny official soundtrack has been released. Oh, by the way, that's your events. That's the only 3 events that we still get to see. So hopefully next week we'll get our new list of events for October into November. Because right now, we don't know. We've just seen the Iron Banner, but that's the last bit of events that we've sort of been tossed around about. The official soundtrack has been released. If you want to buy it, go ahead. Otherwise, just play the game because you can't turn the soundtrack off. Yeah. And then Deej had an interview with some people who beat Vault of Glass on the hard mode. Not going to talk about that. If you're really interested in reading about it, go for it. Oh, there are coins in the tower. If you find all of them and post a comment on the comment section of like the update article, Bungie will give you a special player emblem that only Bungie can assign you. So there are these little tiny coins. Like one guy found it on a tree, and I think there's a bunch scattered in the tower. If you find all of them, you get a special emblem. Did you see this?
I didn't see this at all. No, this is news to me.
Yeah, it's cool. I like that they have special goodies to give out to players. It's like digital t-shirts.
Do we know if they are in set locations or are they different for each player?
Set locations.
Okay,
and we don't know what they are either. They've got like a special marking on them. It's worth checking out the update just for this. Okay, and now we get to mail sack, and I actually want to go through most of the mail sack questions. So Big Dirty Phil 09 asks, any info on when a major content or bug fix patch will be dropping, maybe a time frame? And Deej responds, time frames are a tricky thing. Those are dangerous promises to make. We know all too well that some of you forget none of what we say. What we can say right now is that we talk about you every day at Bungie. We listen to you more than you might think, and there are plans we can't disclose fully yet that will change your experience as a Guardian. Also, it's a safe bet that you'll have something new to read here very soon. He's talking about the patch 1.0.2 preview, which came out a little bit after this came out. So timeframes, we don't know. That's an okay response for me. I'm going to skip to the next question that I liked. So is it possible to get some kind of transparency as to what is happening behind the scenes regarding the issues surrounding Destiny, the current state of the game, etc.? Deej responds, while you were asking this question, we were doing just that. Sorry you felt like you had to ask for it. It's not that our plans were a secret. Sometimes we just need to put our heads together to formulate. Let me assure you of one thing. When the game designers stop what they are doing to talk about their plans in their own voice, it's a pretty good sign of how important you are to them. So I like that response. What do you think?
Yeah, it's a good response. It's sort of a little vague, but
it's dodgy.
It's pretty much the only thing that Deej can say at this point. But I do like the fact that they have patch previews before the patch actually hits, because it still gives Bungie a little bit of time to get community feedback and saying, we want to hear from you. These are our ideas. What do you think about it? We're probably going to move forward with this, but we're going to still take your feedback into consideration for the next patch. And so the fact that they preview the notes before it actually launches is really nice. Exactly.
Last one I want to read is from Asa. She says, or he says, I love the game, but some don't. Can you shed some light on your feelings toward these negative reviews and feedback? Deej says, sure. Bungie thrives on feedback. Never feel like you need to stick up for us when you see someone expressing an honest opinion about our games. We are harder on ourselves than anyone else. Again, along the same lines of what we just said. So, brings us to the patch 1.0.2 preview. This is the Engram buff patch, and I'm very excited. Very excited. So let's get on to it. The big changes. The Cryptarch is having a rework. The Cryptarch basically now operates like this. Legendary Engrams will always produce legendary or better quality items, including materials or exotics. Rare Engrams will always produce rare or better quality items, and rare Engrams will have an increased chance to produce legendary quality items. Can we get a slow clap, little round of applause?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. This is great.
Finally.
News. When I had a legendary Engram and I got a blue from it, I was pretty angry because, come on. It's a legendary Engram. It should contain at least a legendary. And this is great. This is great news.
I have turned in 8 purples. For the viewers who don't know, the Cryptarch is the guy in the tower. When you take the Engrams and have them decoded, he's the guy that either breaks your day or gives you the best piece of gear ever. And it's a random table, okay? He spins the wheel to see if you get something cool. If you take him a legendary Engram prior to this patch that's coming up, it could be a green, or it could be a blue item, or it could be a purple. I have had 8 purples turn into green and blues, and no purples turn into actual legendary purples.
Yeah, that
what this means. It's huge, dude. It's huge. When you get a legendary Engram, be excited because you're going to get a purple item. That's really nice. But we do need to bring up the fact you have some legendary Engrams you're holding on to. What's going to happen with them?
Yeah, so if you hold on to Engrams, they're going to get demoted pretty much. So if you have purple Engrams waiting, if I wait until this patch hits, I can guarantee purples. No, that's not how it works. This patch, any Engrams, this patch only affects Engrams earned after this patch. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, if you've got it right now and it's sitting in your inventory and they're purple Engrams, just get them checked out right now by the Cryptarch because they're going to turn into blues when the patch goes live.
Yes, thank you. I kind of messed that up a little bit.
No, I got it. I understand you. Coming up in patch 1.0.2 as well are activity changes, daily heroics, weekly heroics, and Vanguard Tiger playlist activities will include rare and legendary Engrams in addition to their existing rewards. So finally, by doing the daily heroic mission, the weekly heroic strike, or the highest level strike playlist, you'll end up getting legendary Engrams out of the deal, which should have been the way it was from the start. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
The daily heroic feels so lame at the end, 5 marks for usually a 10 to 20 minute mission is not that, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. I'm happy. But purples, I'm in. Now they're giving me more loot, and the loot's going to feel more fair.
This is the motivation I was talking about earlier in the show. This is going to motivate me to do these certain things.
Yep. And last, item changes. Ascendant materials have been promoted to legendary to closer associate them with the gear that they are used to upgrade. So Ascendant materials are what you use to upgrade legendary equipment. Legendary Engram items that exist in your inventory right now will be demoted to rare quality when the patch goes live. So decode them. Let's be honest, even if you don't, we all know they were blues already. I like that they put that in.
That's pretty funny.
So that's patch 1.0.2. We don't have a release date, but you can probably bet it's coming this week. I bet Tuesday. When this show is out, it's probably that way, which is exciting, man. I need this because I'm so tired of purples and loot cave and just the tomfoolery. This is the first step towards fixing the loot system. Is it everything I've wanted? Meh. But it's a heck of a lot better than nothing. So, your thoughts?
I'm glad they're fixing it so soon. That's my thought.
Isn't it crazy? We're coming up on the 3-week mark, aren't we?
Yeah, that's right.
This is it. Wow. Feels longer. Time is weird, man. Especially when you have tests. Time must feel ridiculous.
It goes slow.
Please, Guardian, let me help you. If you come looking for wise words, I shall try, but I ask you to turn them to action.
And that brings us actually to the topic this week in which we're asking you all for your feedback. Are you satisfied with these upcoming changes? I'm going to put a straw poll on destinytheshow.com for this, so let us know. You can also give us some feedback over on our Twitter. Oh, dude, we had our bounty completed this week by 2 people.
That's
Lurker Zero.
awesome.
Yeah, finally, right? You guys are so slow. Just kidding. Okay, Lurker Zero and the Assassinator both tweeted us pictures of themselves in the Vault of Glass as Destiny the Show clan members. So congratulations, you guys enter the Hall of Fame, as well as you're like right next to Nick Fenton. So we have like 3 Hall of Famers right now. Ditty, what is our next week bounty?
So we want you to tweet us a picture of your exotic gear. It can be armor or weapons.
Yep. We want to see those sexy items. Did you see the picture? Somebody got like the best gun in the game right now. The exotic, like, I think it's a pulse rifle or something like that. Have you seen it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I cannot remember the name of it. It's ridiculous, but that gun looks
Vex
insane.
something.
Yes,
right?
It's a Vex whatever to whatever. Some dude got it off of a drop, and it like basically is the rarest weapon in the game right now. Goes into Crucible and just rips face in this Rumble playlist. Like, I mean, one-shotting kids left and right.
The Vex Mythoclast.
That gun, isn't that one of the only, like, that's a PS exclusive, I think.
No,
No? You don't remember that?
no, that would be the Monte Carlo that you're thinking of.
Oh, you're right.
It came from Twitter!
This week, we tweeted out asking you about your thoughts on the upcoming changes that were outlined in Destiny's dev notes. At Stella King C writes us, Loot Cave 2.0, as some call the Rocket Yard now. No interest in it. Hope team members don't do this during the Devil's Lair strike. And Rocket Yard is basically the new Loot Cave, right, Ditty?
Yeah, pretty much. There's multiple locations in the Rocket Yard, and it's right at the very beginning of the Devil's Lair strike, so people were probably going to queue for that strike and then just start farming, and that's going to be super annoying.
That is so awful. Or how about the AFK strike team member? Ugh, it's the worst.
That's annoying, yeah.
Did you know you can rate players, dude? Like, you can give them a little feedback.
Really?
Yep. If you hold, like, the bumpers, whatever. You know when you look at somebody and you can push the 2 bumpers?
Yeah.
It's right under, like, the player card option. Or you can just go to the roster in the start menu. And
That's
there's,
pretty
like,
cool.
helpful, not helpful, inactive, cheating, like, a bunch of little different things that's just on Bungie's end. It's not the Xbox or rep system like that. So, don't know how that's used unless it's kind of like League, where if X amount happens, they get thrown in a, I don't know, probation.
The banhammer.
The banhammer coming. Atlex Starwalker agrees with Stella King and saying, yeah, I'd rather just play the game myself, in reference to the Rocket Yard. And at Drew Pancake writes us, I think that this can be good or bad. The balances will be nice. The balance changes in terms of the weapon is what he's talking about. But I'm unsure about some. Glad to see more Engrams are dropping. We are too. Thank you, Drew Pancake. And I think that is all. So remember to tweet us so you can be on It Came From Twitter. Keep an eye. We will ask you questions throughout the week. Now, Ditty, I'm pretty darn happy with what's coming up. How about you?
Absolutely. These are the changes that we wanted, and Bungie listened, and it's happening.
Now, if we can just get a few more missions and a couple more Queen stuff, Dragoon will be a happy camper. Actually, I'm already a pretty happy camper.
That's what the expansions are for, right?
Oh, of course, but December is so long. I need something before then. I'm sure there will. I'm sure there will. The next set of events, I'm betting we're going to get something big. Anyway, where can people find your content, Ditty? And when are those strike videos coming?
YouTube.com/wooshness, WOOOSHNESS. I got it right this time.
Boom.
And strike videos coming in the next couple weeks, as well as Shadow of Mordor.
I'm so excited. I cannot wait. The iTunes listeners, thank you guys for listening, as well as our YouTube listeners. iTunes, you guys get the show first. You also are knocking the freaking ball out of the park yet again. Over 2,000 views. I'm not going to talk about that stuff much more because I don't care about numbers, but it's just nice to see. You can go to destinytheshow.com for regular posts and updates, as well as that straw poll where I'm going to get your feedback and put it up here next week. There's also pictures of who completed our bounty and entered the Wall of Fame. Boom. Email us, destinytheshow@gmail.com if you have questions or want to get in contact with us. You can follow at Destiny Show on the Twitter. You can follow me at BBK Dragoon. And I think that's about it. You guys have a great week, and we will see you next time.